Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to this week's webinar session. So we're just gonna give a couple more minutes to let more people join the session before we get started. So in the meantime, feel free to let me know if you guys can hear me and see me, and also grab yourselves a drink, make yourselves comfortable. You can pop your requests in the chat as well, and I'll be sure to go through as many of your requests as possible during this session. So, yep, I will begin in about 2 more minutes. Thanks, everyone. Okay, I think we can go ahead and get started. So if you've just joined, welcome to this week's webinar. I'm Melanie, and I will be a speaker for today. So as per usual, a disclaimer. IC Markets does not represent that the material provided here is accurate, current, or complete, and therefore shouldn't be relied upon as such. The information provided here, whether from a third party or not, is not considered to be considered as a recommendation, an offer to buy or sell, or the solicitation of an offer to buy or sell any security, financial product, or instrument, or to participate in any particular trading strategy. Risk warning: trading forex and CFDs, high level of risk to your capital. Here is a high level of risk. You should only trade with money you can afford to lose. Trading forex and CFDs may not be suitable for all investors, so please ensure you fully understand the risk involved and seek independent advice if necessary. Okay, so again, I'm Melanie. Again, I will be your speaker for today. I'm an investment analyst at Rocket, who are finalist for Best FX and Equity Research in the years 2019 to 2021. Okay, let's get started with our charts. So feel free to let me know in the chat if you guys have any requests or any questions throughout the webinar, and I'll be happy to go through those. Okay, let me just open up my charts. Okay, Okay, so maybe while you guys are letting me know in the chat if there are any specific charts you'd like to see, we'll go ahead and get started with Euro USD. Okay, let me just make sure you guys can see my screen. Okay, all good. Let's get started. So, as per usual, I'm going to start off by looking at the higher time frames first so that we get an idea of the direction of price. So starting off with our weekly time frame, we can see prices are moving in this um, uptrend. Okay, now let's see if we have any trend channels or trend lines. Okay, so we have price moving in this ascending trend channel as well. Now that's on our weekly time frame. So now let's look at our daily time frame. Okay, so on our daily time frame, I don't think we have any, let's see. Okay, we don't have any trend channels or trend lines. So let's just go ahead and add our support and resistance levels. But we can definitely see that price is moving in this ascending, or rather in this uptrend. Okay, so starting off with our first support. Okay, I'm going to place it over here at this pullback level. This is my first support. And our first resistance over here. Second resistance just up here. Okay, now let's look at our 4-hour time frame. So we can see some of these levels transfer nicely from our daily time frame over to our 4-hour time frame. Also, you can see price moving upwards in this uptrend towards our first resistance. So let's just pull out some Fibonacci levels to support these graphical levels that we've identified. So to start off, I'm going to use a Fibonacci retracement. So for retracement, we use these 5 levels. Okay, and where price is currently at, we have a 61.8% Fibonacci retracement. So I'm just going to highlight this level and label it as an intermediate resistance. Okay, just a level for me to take note of. So even though this 38.2 lines up nicely with our first support, we can't use it because price has already broken. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep my 61.8 yeah, I'm just gonna keep my 61.8. And then next, I'm gonna pull out my Fibonacci projection. So for a Fibonacci projection, you want to look for this kind of slash or lightning bolt shape. Okay. And we use these three levels, 61.8, 78.6, and the 100%. Okay, and you can see how price is testing our 61.8, and it's also lining up the 78.6, also lining up resistance. So it doesn't have to line up exactly at the levels that we've highlighted, because we are looking for Fibonacci confluence areas more so rather than levels. So as long as these Fibonacci levels are pretty close in proximity to the graphical levels we've highlighted, that's good enough. Okay, I'm gonna see if we have a Fibonacci extension here as well. Okay, we don't. So I think that's all the levels we have. So let's go ahead. Oh, I think we have another retracement here as well. Okay, so again, for retracement, we use these 5 levels. Okay, and you can see that our 38.2 lines up with our first support nicely. Okay. Okay, now let's take a look at some indicators. So I'm going to highlight this area here at our intermediate resistance. Okay, because we have a confluence area lined up with this multiple swing high resistance. Okay, so we could be seeing price test this area a little bit. So let's see if our indicators give us a bullish or bearish signal. Okay, so price is moving above our Ichimoku cloud, so it's giving us a bullish signal. MACD is giving us a pretty bearish signal, so I'm gonna get rid of that. Let's take a look at Bollinger Bands as well. Okay, you can see our upper band, or rather, price is pushing above the upper band of the Bollinger Band, so it is also giving us a bullish signal. Let's look at RSI and stochastic. Okay, you can see that our RSI is giving us this really nice ascending trend line, and so is our stochastic. So all of these indicators give us a bullish signal. Okay, and if we remember earlier from our daily and weekly timeframes, which also give us an uptrend, we can kind of see that there might be sufficient upward pressure from the higher time frames and from these indicators to show us that we might see price be able to push above this resistance level. Even though currently we are seeing it testing it a bit because of the resistance, we might see it push past and hit towards our first resistance. Okay. Let me know if you guys have any requests or any questions. Okay, if not, let me just open a new layout. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at Swiss franc. Oh, okay, we have a request for DXY, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. Okay, so again, I'm gonna start off by looking at a higher time frame first. I think on a higher time frame, prices are kind of ranging. So let's just look at our daily time frame. Okay, let's start off with our support and resistance levels. So I'm gonna place my first resistance over here, where we saw price test this level quite a bit. So here's my first resistance. Next, I'm gonna place my pivot or my first support, just over here. Okay, and then my first support obviously will be at this swing low, or rather second support. Okay, so again, to support these levels, I'm going to go in with our Fibonacci retracement first. Okay, we can see that, okay, let's look at all the fit levels. And we can see our 50% lines up nicely with our first resistance. So I'm just going to keep that. And next, we have another retracement on the other side. Let's see if we have any levels here. Okay, we can see our 61.8 lines up with this first support as well. Okay, so we might see price bounce off of this first support and hit towards our first resistance. Let's take a look at some indicators again. I like to start off with Ichimoku and MACD because at one glance you can see exactly what these signals are. So Ichimoku price is moving um, within the cloud, so we can't use that. MACD is giving us a bearish signal. Okay, now let's look at RSI and stochastic. Okay, so on our RSI, we actually have a bit of a bullish, or rather hidden resistance. Okay, let me just highlight where we're looking at. So from this bar to this where we are at currently, you can see price approaching this support level that I've highlighted here. Okay, even though on our price chart, it is making a higher low, on our RSI, it looks like it's approaching that same support level. So this could be a sign that price is going to bounce off subsequently off of this support and also off of our first support and hit towards our first resistance. Okay, I'll just remove stochastic. Okay, XY. Let me know any other. Let me see any other requests. Okay, I see we have a request for dollar franc. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at that. Um, okay. So again, starting off with our weekly time frame, prices look like they are moving in this downtrend on our Swiss franc. Okay, it's moving in this descending trend line. Okay, in fact, we might actually have a descending trend channel here. Okay, so what makes a valid trend channel is if there are at least two touches on the top and two touches below, which you see we definitely do have that. Okay, so let's look at our daily time frame now. So keeping in mind that our weekly time frame is giving us a downtrend, let's now analyze this daily time frame together. I don't think we have any trend lines or trend channels. So let's just start off with our support and resistance levels again. Okay, so here is our first resistance to start us off. Okay, I want to pull it back as far as I can. I think I'll place my first support here. Okay, I'll label this as my as a pivot. Okay, since price is currently testing that area, for my first support, I'm just gonna be labeling it at this swing low here, this double swing low. Okay, now going in with our Fibonacci levels again. Okay, I'm gonna start off with a retracement. Let's look at all fibs. Okay, so we can see that price is currently testing this 23.6. In fact, it's actually breaking out of it currently. And also at this swing high, here we have another level that I want to take note of here. Okay, and the reason why I want to take note of this level is because of this swing high here, this pullback level. Okay, so I'm just going to indicate it with a dotted line. So let's keep our 23 and 38. Okay, so we could be seeing price continuing to drop towards this level here. Okay, but of course, an area that we want to take note of is the area that I've highlighted here because of the confluence area and also because of the pullback level. Okay, so same thing, let's look at some indicators. So price is moving above the Ichimoku cloud, so it's not supporting our analysis. Let's look at our RSI. Mm, okay, on our RSI, we see again we have this hidden support level. Okay, between these two areas, I have a level here. Okay, but then okay, price has made a higher low, whereas on our RSI, it is a hidden support. So we might be able to see price continue to approach this level, which we will probably see it continue down to this level here. Okay, let's look at stochastic. Okay, in fact, stochastic is actually giving us a bearish divergence because price is making a lower low um, when our price is making a higher low. So what I mean by that is if you take a look here, price from this area, it's moving upwards. Whereas on our stochastic, price from this level is moving downwards. So it's making a lower low. So that is an example of a bearish divergence, and supports our analysis that price is likely to continue to drop towards our first support. Okay. Let me see if we have any other requests. KUJPY. Okay, so same thing, starting off with our higher time frame. Prices are moving in an uptrend. So in our daily time frame, it does look like price is making a significant dip over here. But let's just go ahead and add our support and resistance levels again. Okay, so this is my first resistance. Actually, this is my first resistance. This would be my second resistance. First support. First support here. Okay, let's go in with our Fibonacci levels again. Okay, we see our 50% lining up with our first support. Okay, so even though 61.8 does line up with our first resistance here, we can't use it since price has already broken out of it. Let's see if we have a Nike tick here, or rather a Fibonacci extension. So for Fibonacci extensions, we use the values that are above 100%. So we have the 127.2 and 161.8. Okay, and you can see that our 161.8 lines up nicely with our second resistance. So to use this, you just need to be able to identify a tick, so something like this shape, or if it's an inverted Nike tick, then it'll just be the opposite of that. Okay. Okay, so from this, it looks like price is going to continue to drop towards our first support. So let's take a look at some indicators. Okay, price is moving above our Ichimoku cloud, so it's not supporting our analysis. MACD is giving us a bearish signal, so we'll leave that. Okay, on our RSI again, we see this same divergence. Okay, price has made a higher low, whereas on our RSI, price is currently making a lower low. So this is again what we call a bearish divergence. So we could be seeing price continue to drop. The difference between the support, resistance, and pivot. So typically I would use pivot, like I think in another example previously we used pivot. But for they all basically mean the same thing. For support and resistance, obviously you are looking at a swing high, and you're expecting price to continue to move up and then react off of that level. That would be a resistance. For your support, it would be if you're expecting price to bounce off of that level, that would be a support. A pivot is just basically I'm expecting price to reverse. So if price is really close to where I want to add a horizontal level, I'll just label it as a pivot because it's kind of pivoting in a different direction. Okay. Okay, so we have another request for pound yen. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. So once again, starting off with our weekly time frame, you can see prices have been moving in this uptrend. So let's look at daily. Okay, so on our daily time frame, again, you see this level here where I want to highlight to you guys. This, I will label it as a pivot since price is currently at that level. Okay, so I'm trying to see if price is going to reverse off of the level or if it's going to break past it. That's why I'm just labeling it as that. Okay, but feel free to label it as your support as well. Okay, and then for my first support, I'm just going to place it here at this overlap support. And then my first resistance, I'll place it up here. Okay, again, I'm going to use my Fibonacci extension. You can see my 161.8 lines up with our first resistance. Again, just to be clear, this is what the shape looks like. Okay, now I'm gonna look for a resistance, or rather a retracement, sorry. So apply all fibs, and you can see where my pivot is at. My 50% lines up nicely. So I'm just gonna keep that. Okay, and I think we have another retracement. Okay, my 23.6 and also my 38.2 line up nicely. So 23 and 38. Okay, so we can definitely see that there is a little bit of confluence here at my pivot. Okay. Yeah, so we can just keep an eye on for that area. Now let's look at some indicators. Price is moving above the Ichimoku cloud. MACD is giving us a bearish signal. Okay, again, we are seeing that same divergence. Okay, so price is making a higher low, whereas on our RSI, it is giving us a lower low. So again, there is bearish divergence. So I'm expecting price to continue to drop from here to our first support. Okay, let's see if there are any other requests. Okay, I got a request for ETH. Okay, ETH and gold. So let's take a look at ETH first, and then we'll look at gold. Okay, so on our weekly time frame, prices are moving steadily upwards, and on our daily time frame, okay, let's just zoom out. Okay, we see over here, this is my first resistance, or first support rather, and then my pivot is where price is currently at over here. And then my first resistance would just be here. Okay, so going in with a retracement, all fibs, you can see 78.6 lines up nicely with our pivot, which is where price is currently at now. Okay, so I'll just keep that. Okay. Okay, so we might see price react off of the pivot, but let's take a look at some indicators. I think our indicators will be pretty much very bullish. Okay, you can see price moving above the cloud, maybe also giving us a bullish signal. RSI is not telling us much. Okay, stochastic is also not telling us much. Okay, let's look at Bollinger Bands. Okay, you can see prices moving above our upper band. So it is also giving us a bullish signal, sorry. Okay, I'm gonna try and fit all of that into screen. Okay, yep, so that's for E. Okay, now let's look at gold. Yep, no worries. Okay. Okay, so for gold, let's look at the weekly time frames. Pretty much uptrend. Daily also very much in this uptrend. Okay, and we don't have any previous levels. Okay, now let's look at our 4-hour time frame. Okay, where price is currently at, I'm just gonna label this as our pivot. Okay, and then over here is my first resistance. And just here, I think will be my first support. Okay, again, I'm using the Nike tick shape here as well. Okay, if price reverses, let's see if we have any retracement levels that indicate price might retrace back to our first support. Okay, we have a 23.6 that lines up nicely with our first support. Let's take a look at a projection. Okay, we also have the 61.8 that lines up nicely. So we might see price drop from our pivot to our first support. Let's pull out some indicators as well. Ichimoku MACD, price is moving above the Ichimoku cloud, so it's giving us a bullish signal, whereas price is giving us or rather MACD is giving us a bearish signal. So let's take a look at a few more indicators. Okay, Bollinger Band's price is it moving above? Okay, it's not really moving above anymore, so I can't use this anymore. Let's look at RSI. Okay, let's look at RSI. Also giving us this bullish signal. Okay, since price is moving in this ascending trend line. Okay, so I'm not too sure, but we could see price continue to hit downwards here. Okay, in line with our MACD. Okay, but it is important to keep up with your fundamentals as well, especially if you are trading gold, or XAU USD, as well as the other forex currencies as well. Okay, are there any other requests? I think we have time for maybe one more chart, so feel free to let me know in the chat if you guys have any other requests. Okay, I hope you guys can still hear me and see me. I'm not too sure what just happened. But yeah. Okay. I think we have a request for AUD. Okay, AUD USD. Let's look at that. Okay, so same thing. I'm gonna start off with our weekly time frame. So prices are moving in a downtrend on the weekly time frame. On our daily time frame as well, I think we have a descending trend line here. Okay, let's go ahead and add our support and resistance levels. This is my second support. Second resistance, sorry. And then my first support. And my second support. Okay. All fibs. So same thing, I'm looking for retracement that lines up with some of my resistance levels. So you see my 50% lines up nicely with our first resistance. And next, we have a projection here, I think. Okay, no. Okay, so here is the lightning bolt shape, and our 61.8 lines up with our first resistance as well. Okay, so over here we have a confluence area. We don't have any retracements here. Okay, I think that's all the levels we have for our daily time frame. Now, if we look at our 4-hour time frame, some of the levels do transfer. Okay, but let's just go ahead and clear that. Okay, I'm gonna restart. So this is my my second resistance. And then my first resistance, I'm just gonna place it at these swing highs here. Or rather, this is my first support. And this is my first resistance. Okay. So next is my second support rather, here. And then my retracement, I'm just gonna place it here. So again, I'm looking for a retracement. You can see my 50% lines up with my first resistance. My 38.2 also lines up with my first support. Okay, now let's take a look at some indicators. Ichimoku MACD. Chris is moving above the Ichimoku cloud, so it's giving us a bullish signal. MACD is giving us a bearish signal. So let's look at RSI and stochastic. Okay, so on our RSI, okay, price is moving in this support level, our second support. Whereas here you see that there is a bullish divergence here on our RSI. Okay, so we could be seeing price continue to move upwards towards our first resistance. Okay, that's for AUD. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Okay, if not, then I guess that's all for today's webinar. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Hope you guys found it helpful, and I'll see you guys again next week. Have a great rest of your week, everyone. Bye. Thanks, everyone. Bye.